PR moves. Just a woman who is in denial, attempting to gaslight the entire world.
Of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into a masterclass in cringe. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds showed up at the Time 100 Gala with a fake smile and a clear agenda to spin the narrative and throw shade at Justin Baldoni without ever saying his name. Blake's so-called empowerment speech? It wasn't empowerment, it was a calculated sympathy grab, wrapped in glitter and ego. It screamed damage control, not inspiration. Let's be real, this was a PR hit job disguised as feminism, and while the media might be too scared to say it, the internet isn't fooled. Justin Baldoni is being proven right, and Blake and Ryan just played themselves on the world stage. First, let's talk about the optics, because this wasn't just two celebrities attending an award show. This was an orchestrated image rehabilitation campaign. Blake in an extravagant gown, Ryan standing loyally by her side, cameras perfectly positioned to capture every tearful look and empowered stance. And all of it was designed to sell one thing: that Blake is the true survivor in this situation, and that her silence until now has been out of respect for her pain. But what pain? What trauma? Because last we checked, the actual controversy revolves around her and her team's treatment of Justin Baldoni during the production of It Ends With Us. Let's not forget Justin, the director, producer, and one of the most emotionally intelligent voices in Hollywood today, tried to bring this story to life with care and integrity. And what did he get for it? Months of behind-the-scenes sabotage, power games, and a campaign of subtle character assassination led by Blake and her carefully curated PR squad. Then came the speech. A vague, performative mess wrapped in faux vulnerability and weaponized victimhood.
Bring it on!
What I will speak to separately is the feeling of being a woman who has a voice today. And since I could speak, because of the pain, caution, and fight of the many women who have paved the way, and the men who stood beside them. Millions I will never know the name of, because every life, every act, big or small, affects another. Before I say more, I want to warn that I will speak about tonight covers trauma, so please feel free to step away if you need. My life was influenced most by my mother, sitting here tonight, Willie Elaine McAlpin. She's an eternal optimist, and she's always leaving me messages, hooping and hollering and saying, "Woo, life's just a bowl of cherries." It's true, always. And she'll get your number tonight, and she'll leave you those messages, so please be warned. At her urging and her unwavering bravery, she wanted me to share with you that she is a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman.
I've been through so much the past 2 years, Blake says, tears in her eyes, voice quivering as if we're supposed to connect invisible dots and arrive at a conclusion, that she is the wronged party, and that Justin Baldoni, unnamed but heavily implied, is the villain of the story. This is manipulation 101. Drop emotionally loaded lines. Mention trauma. Reference your mother's harrowing past, which has absolutely nothing to do with this movie or this situation, and let the audience fill in the rest. It's disingenuous, it's gross, and it's deeply insulting to real survivors who don't have stylists, handlers, and entertainment magazines to airbrush their pain into brand content. Meanwhile, Justin has stayed silent, professional, graceful, focused on his family, his other work, and his values, which is more than can be said for Blake, who has now decided to use the very themes of the movies she actively avoided promoting to clean up her public image. Let's not forget, It Ends With Us is a story centered on domestic violence, a powerful, painful, personal story for millions of people. Yet during the entire promotional campaign, Blake Lively did everything she could to distance herself from those themes. She made zero meaningful statements about abuse. She refused to talk about the book's core message. Instead, she chose to use the platform to promote her alcohol brand and her hair care line, complete with bubbly social media posts and cutesy marketing language. But now that the backlash has begun she suddenly remembers that she's the daughter of a survivor.
But to Blake, she's on this list for being the hero that is standing up for all of women.
Now she wants to become the voice of all women, declaring never underestimate a woman's ability to endure pain, as if her PR drama qualifies as shared suffering. Justin Baldoni has worked for years to create media that uplifts marginalized voices. He's dedicated his career to challenging toxic masculinity and spotlighting real emotional healing. His production company has a reputation for integrity, and that's exactly why this smear campaign is so insidious. Because it's not just about Justin. It's about the way powerful celebrities like Blake and Ryan weaponize social justice language to shield themselves from criticism while silencing the very people they claim to uplift. And let's not give Ryan a free pass here either. His presence at the gala, his performative support of Blake's speech, all of it felt like a complicit, smirking nod to the camera. As if to say, we've got this under control. Ryan Reynolds, the self-proclaimed king of sarcasm and good guy branding, stood there co-signing every emotionally manipulative word. A man who built his empire on likability and humor, now aligning himself with a strategy that hinges on gaslighting the public and erasing the real hero of this story. Justin Baldoni. It's clear what's happening. The Blake Lively camp, led by her longtime publicist Leslie Sloan, is in full-blown damage control mode. The rollout of this speech, the People magazine exclusives, the leaked backstage moments, all of it is part of a textbook PR strategy. Drown out the controversy with a new narrative before the lawsuits hit public record. And yes, lawsuits because new legal filings are reportedly on the way that paint a disturbing picture of what really went down during the making of It Ends With Us. Allegations are surfacing that Blake and her team were not just difficult, but deliberately hostile to Justin Baldoni's vision. That they took control of the production, undermined creative decisions, and sidelined the director in a project he nurtured from the ground up. So what does Blake do? She gets ahead of it, spins a sob story, plays the trauma card, and uses the world's biggest magazine platform to quietly reframe Justin Baldoni as the problem without ever getting her hands dirty with direct accusations. It's manipulative, it's dishonest, and it's a betrayal of everything It Ends With Us was supposed to stand for. What's perhaps most revolting is how Blake co-opted survivor language for her own gain. The real survivors of domestic violence, the people this story was supposed to empower, are now watching as their experiences are turned into a marketing strategy. Imagine surviving abuse, looking to Hollywood to amplify your story, and instead seeing Blake Lively, who actively ignored your truth during her film's promotion, now wearing your pain like a designer dress. It's performative activism at its worst, hollow, calculated, and insulting. And the response has been swift. Survivor communities, advocacy groups, and individual voices across social media have spoken out, calling out the hypocrisy and emotional exploitation. Many are demanding that Blake and Ryan publicly clarify the implications of her speech, but of course, they won't. That would mean answering for what they really did. Mainstream outlets like People, Entertainment Tonight, and Variety have largely bought the PR bait repeating Blake's speech without context, echoing her empowerment message while failing to question the timing or intent. But we aren't the mainstream media. We remember the timeline. We see the inconsistencies. We know exactly what's being hidden in plain sight. Blake and Ryan aren't being canceled. They're being called out. There's a difference. They're being held accountable for a pattern of hypocrisy, manipulation, and image-first activism that does more harm than good. And Justin, he's not just surviving this, he's being vindicated by it. Every move Blake makes to erase him only highlights how crucial his presence was in this story. Every fake tear she sheds, every carefully crafted quote she drops, only reminds us of how authentic, grounded, and sincere Justin Baldoni has been throughout. Blake and Ryan may have fooled the cameras, but they've lost the public. Their Time 100 appearance was not a comeback, it was a collapse. A desperate, see-through attempt to change the story before the truth fully emerges. But the truth always does. Justin Baldoni stood for integrity. He wanted to make a film that meant something that helped people. And instead, he was vilified by the very people who were supposed to help tell that story. Blake and Ryan might think their influence is untouchable, that a few speeches, a few headlines, and a few crocodile tears can wipe the slate clean. But they're wrong. Because we see through it, and so does everyone else. Like, share, and subscribe.